Why, hello, little ones. It's a pleasure to see you again. Have you been well since the last time that we were together? I do hope so. We care ever so much about each and every one of you. That's why we created the safe space, so that no matter where you are or what kind of a day you're having, you can always come here to the safe space and listen to the stories. And if you're brave enough to give us your name, you can have a sheep on the wall, so you'll always be here. Speaking of sheep, since the last time that we were together, we've had a great number of new sheep join us. Would you like to see? You would? Excellent. All right, let's have a look then, shall we? I see Aaron and Alice and Alicia and Andrew, Amalia, Amelia, Amy, Andrea, Angel, Anne, Ash, Beep, Billy, Blue, Brownie, Bunny, Candy, Cara, Carol, Cassie, Chantel, Charlie, Christopher D, Claire, Cody, Connor, Crystal, Danny, Diana, Dodie, E, Elliot, Emily, Eve, Evelyn, Finn, Freak, FTM, Glitter, God's Angel System, Gracie, Hannah, Hyphen, Isabel, Jack, Jaxie, John, Jenny and Jane, Kai, Karen, Kate, Kinsu, Kit, Lammy, Left, Leo, Lily, Little Llama, Lizzie, Luca, Lunar System, Marigold, Mason, Maribel, Mia, Minnie, Misty, Nikki, Nobody, Nothing, Orchid, Oscar, Oxys, Pan, Pearl, Pippin, Potato, Raja, Rosie, Scarlet, Sarah, Seven, Sierra, Shicey, Sunny, Sunshine, Susie, Timmy, Titch, Thomas, Torin, Tutu, and Yuki. What wonderful names! And you know what? Those are all your names. Your names on the sheep on the wall. So that no matter what, you can always be a part of the safe space and listen to the stories. Speaking of stories, I've picked out a wonderful one for us this time. It's called Rumpelstiltskin. Isn't that a funny word to say? But whatever have I done with it? It's not over here by the sheep and the tree and Bo Peep, and it's not over here by Bitsy and Betsy and the castle. I wonder where it could be. Oh, I know. Let's have a look in the chest, shall we? Excuse me, Mr. Bear, we'll have to move you temporarily. Isn't he a lovely bear? He's so terribly pink, and he has this perfectly lovely heart with a terribly important word written on it. Do you know what that word is? Yes, it's love. L-O-V-E. Love. And that is a terribly important word to remember, because you are loved. All right, Mr. Bear, we'll have to set you down momentarily while we open up the chest. What's this? More books. And sure enough, here's the book we're looking for. Rumpelstiltskin. We'll let you hold that, Mr. Bear, while we close up the chest, so you'll have a place to sit and listen to the story too. Up you go. Excellent. All right then. Are you ready? Do you have your blankie, or your stuffie, or your favorite toy? If not, go and get them. We'll be right here waiting for you. Do you have them now? Excellent. All right, everyone. Gather round, snuggle up, and be sure to put your best listening ears on as we read Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin, from Grimm's Fairy Tales, illustrated by William J. Dugan. There once lived a miller who was so proud of his daughter's beauty that he wanted to tell everyone about it. One day the miller saw the king and his men out hunting in the forest. Now the king was young and handsome, and the miller told him about his beautiful daughter. "Sire," he said, bowing low, "I have a daughter. Not only is she beautiful, she can also spin straw into gold." "Bring her to me at once," said the king, for though he was a king, he was not very rich and he needed gold. The king was delighted when he saw that the miller's daughter was indeed very beautiful. But he remembered what the miller had said, and he wanted her to spin a room full of straw into gold. My goodness, do you think she can? The king took the miller and the girl to his castle beyond the forest. When they arrived, the miller's daughter was locked in a castle room. The boastful miller was to be held a prisoner until the king had all the gold he needed. The miller's daughter saw that her room contained nothing but a chair, a spinning wheel, and a pile of straw. "You have until morning to spin this straw into gold," said the king. The miller's daughter had never in her life spun straw into gold, nor did she know how it was done. She looked at the straw, and she looked at the spinning wheel, and she thought of her father, and she burst into tears. "Why do you weep, Mistress Miller?" said a voice. The girl saw a tiny little man. Ugly he was, but with a twinkle in his eye, and the girl told him of her plight. Said the little man. "Spin straw into gold. What will you give me if I do it for you?" "My necklace," said the girl at once. It was the most precious thing she owned. Then, whirr, whirr, the little man started the spinning wheel, and whirr, whirr, it went all night, spinning the straw into precious gold. By morning, every piece of straw had been spun into golden coins, and the magical man had disappeared. The king was so delighted when he saw all the gold that he decided he must have more. Isn't that always the way with kings, don't you know? "Guards, fill the room with twice as much straw as before. The girl will spin me twice as much gold." Once again, the miller's daughter sat alone in the locked room and looked at the huge piles of straw. Once again, the girl burst into tears. And once again, the little man appeared to help the miller's daughter. She gave him her ring, and whirr, whirr, he spun the straw into precious gold. "Oh," said the king the next morning, "if you will spin me one more cartload of gold, you shall be my wife." One would think that he would marry her simply for her beauty and who she was, don't you? Now the girl was very pleased that the king wanted to marry her. But how could she pay the little man this time? "I have nothing left to give," she wailed when the little man appeared. And the little man said, "If you'll promise to give me your first child, I will do it for you." The poor girl agreed, and whirr, whirr, the little man started the spinning wheel, and whirr, whirr, it went all night, spinning the straw into precious gold. As the little man cleared away one pile of straw, he would replace it with a pile of gold. The miller's daughter grew quite dizzy watching the little man run quickly back and forth with straw and gold. Her eyes were dazzled when all the straw was spun away, and all that remained was pot after pot of shining gold. The king was overcome with delight when he saw the gold gleaming in the morning light, and the miller's daughter beside it, even more beautiful than the gold. He ordered the marriage ceremony to begin at once, and the miller to be set free. And that is how the miller's daughter became a queen. In a year's time, the young queen gave birth to a beautiful baby daughter. All the people in the land rejoiced when they heard of the birth of a princess. There was singing and dancing in the streets, and all the houses were covered with flowers and flags. But no one was more pleased than the happy king and his queen. One day, as the queen sat holding her baby, she heard a chuckle behind her. She turned and saw the same little man who had helped her spin the straw into gold. "I have come for your baby," he said. "You promised that you would give her to me." Oh, how the queen wept and pleaded with the little man. She offered him money and costly jewels and a splendid position at court, but he shook his head. "No, a baby is far more precious than any of these things," he said, "but I will give you a chance. Tell me within 3 days what my name is. If you can guess right, you she'll keep the baby and never see me again." And with that, he disappeared. The next day he was back again, and the queen said all the names she could think of, but the little man just shook his head and went away chuckling. The next day the queen sent messengers to the village to find the names of all the people there. She said them to the little man when he came, but the little man just shook his head and went away chuckling. On the third day one of the messengers came to the queen and said, "I came to a high mountain at the end of the forest, and there I saw a little house. Before the house a fire was burning, and round about the fire a little man was jumping. An ugly little man he was, but with a twinkle in his eye, and he was saying these words: 'Today I brew, tomorrow I bake, and then the royal child I'll take, for little knows the royal dame that Rumpelstiltskin is my name.'" As soon as the queen heard these words, she knew that she was saved. She rewarded the messenger handsomely and sat down to await the little man, her baby on her knee. The little man appeared, and the queen began to say more names to him: Harry and Perry, and Williams E. Morrissey, and Peterkin Hopewell Jones. But it was none of these, as the queen well knew, and the little man held out his arms for the baby. The queen began to rock her baby to and fro, and then she said,
"Why then, perhaps your name is, could it be? I think it must be, Rumpelstiltskin."
Oh, how angry that little man was. "Someone told you! Someone told you!" he screamed in a rage. He tore at his hair, and he jumped, and he groaned, and then he started to stamp his feet in a very, very angry way. And, do you know, he stamped so hard that he stamped himself right through the floor. And he has not been seen again from that day to this. So, the king and the queen and their little daughter, and, of course, the miller too, all lived happily ever after. And look, there's the miller sitting with his feet up, reading the paper. Goodness, he has a green candle next to him. And look, are those pictures of the king and the queen and the princess? I think they must be. The end. Wasn't that a wonderful story? The miller there, sitting back in his chair, looking quite contented and self-satisfied, don't you think? You know, things almost came out very badly for the miller and his daughter because of his boasting. A boast is when you tell a fib to make yourself look better. You know, it can be like that on the inside as well as the outside sometimes. It's always important to tell the truth, and it's important to accept responsibility for your mistakes. It's all right every once in a while to make a mistake as long as you're trying your best to make it better. That is what truly counts. So, little ones, remember that the next time that you make a mistake and your older brothers and sisters on the inside are mispleased with you, tell the truth, accept responsibility for your mistakes, and above all, don't be greedy like the king and the miller. I think that would be a good thing to do. Don't you? Well, little ones, that's all for this time. We'd like to thank your older brothers and sisters for letting you come to the safe space and spend time here. And before we go, we have 3 very important things to remember, don't we? And I thought it would be an excellent idea if we said them all together. So, always remember that you are loved, that you are strong, and that you are not alone. I'm Percival. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.